Dun, 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 dun. Looking good. Alright. I think we are ready to roll. Alright. What's up, guys? Jordan Anderson here, and let me adjust my camera. You see production? Do y'all want to see production? Does that mess y'all up if y'all see production? Don't look. Wait, does that ever bother you guys? Good morning. Happy New Year. My name is Jordan Anderson from, this YouTube channel. And I want to talk today about the term filmmaker. Yeah. It seems pretty basic, but it has apparently been a controversial term in the last 5 years. And I want to kind of clear that up for people who are beyond my generation, and people in my generation now. Because the term filmmaker is apparently misused, overused, or has kind of lost its power lately. So let's go and just kind of we're just going to hash this out. So the old term, let's talk like old school filmmaking. Old school filmmaker. The word, the original use of it. Let me give you like the legit. The old definition would be a director, producer, cinematographer who actively worked in the film industry, worked with film as a medium, and who has made a feature film. That is a filmmaker. Someone who has actually touched celluloid, loaded it into a camera, made a movie, and produced a feature film. That is the old school definition of a filmmaker, which I can't argue with. That is truly a filmmaker. So obviously with the DSLR revolution, thanks to the 5D, where you now have a cheap $2,000 camera that can make a high quality video. I think that started now is the beginning of the end of the golden standard, the old temple that was the term filmmaker. I think that began to break it down. As to what I believe now, the modern definition of filmmaker is anyone who passionately creates video. So if you make videos and you do it passionately and you do it all the time and creatively, then I would consider you a filmmaker. While a lot of people in the industry now, and a little bit of the older generation, think that that is a misuse of the term, that you have not, they would say, oh, you're a filmmaker, what movies have you made? And I don't think that should be the standard nowadays. To be considered a filmmaker, I think is a lot more liberal. I don't believe you have to have produced a movie from script to screen in order to consider yourself a filmmaker. If you're making videos, if you're doing it passionately, if you're making it creatively, then I think you can consider yourself a filmmaker. It's one of those, a YouTuber is technically a filmmaker nowadays. A YouTuber would be a filmmaker in my mind. An indie filmmaker is a filmmaker. Someone who produces high quality wedding videos is a filmmaker. Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit more about, I want to deep dive into so there's the old part of the industry that has gotten a little romantic about what film used to be, how film was produced, the process that went into it, the people that were involved, the quality of cinema. I think that thinking is a little bit romantic. Like, the industry is shifting. This is as much a film as anything else that's being put out today. That's the frustrating part that I get. I get that's why you're frustrated. Like, the older generation is frustrated that a kid like me can make a video and receive more views than their indie film that they produced when they were 24, because only 50 people showed up to their screening back in the 90s, and whenever. I think YouTube, I think Vimeo, I think video on demand is the new place for filmmakers. I think that the platform has grown. I think that the audience has grown, and for those that are still stuck in the past or that wish it were back to the old days where it was a big, big feature film, shot on film, shown in a theater, distributed, cut to DVD. That's nice to remember the good old days, but it's not effective now. But that's kind of the thing too. Like, you can decide what you want to be, and that is good and bad for the industry. That you yourself can decide that you want to be a filmmaker. You yourself can decide that you want to be a director, a cinematographer, or producer. But I don't think there's anything wrong with calling yourself a cinematographer or calling yourself a filmmaker. If you believe that you are, that's great. Now we're all filmmakers. Okay, so what does that mean for the industry? The older generation would say that's fucked up. Like, we're not all filmmakers. You're an amateur. I'm a professional. I'm a true filmmaker. You're just a kid with a camera. Like that. That's where I get frustrated, because the kids with the cameras are going to eventually be the professionals. I think that discourages the industry. I think that makes the industry exclusive, whereas filmmaking is a collaborative effort, and to kind of badmouth people or to kind of talk them down or to discourage them from following the passion that is filmmaking, I think is a pretty destructive thing to the industry. I don't think that we should be discouraging kids and hopeful filmmakers from pursuing their dreams. So yeah, so that's the shift. So now so everyone can be a filmmaker. Great. Now what really is the kick in the pants is you have to be good. Like, that is the shift now. That's been the paradigm shift. Like, you could be, there have been bad filmmakers in the past that were given money and production and the green light, and they sucked and they kept getting money. And then there were the good filmmakers alongside that. But nowadays, everyone's a filmmaker. Everyone has the ability to get produced, get funding. Now it's going to be who's a good filmmaker and who's a bad filmmaker. The bad filmmaker is going to get left behind if they don't improve, and the good filmmakers are going to rise to the top. I think quality is always going to rise to the top. The people are going to decide to watch your movie. The people are going to decide to not watch your movie, and that ultimately is going to decide if you're a good or bad filmmaker. So I truly appreciate that. Now filmmaking is true meritocracy. It's not about who you know. It's not about you have this in with the production company. You have this, the executive producer, or he has this amount of money set aside for you for your movie. Now it's about I have a good script. I'm a good filmmaker. I understand every aspect of this story and how to tell it right, and now I'm going to go produce it, and it's going to be kick-ass, and I am going to receive the success for it. That's the industry that we're in right now. That's the environment that we're in, and that I fucking love. I fucking love that. So if you're not good, if you're not talented, then you can still be a filmmaker, but you're not going to get anywhere. So that's the heart of it right there. I like it. Feels good. So if you want to call yourself a filmmaker, feel free. If you want to call yourself a cinematographer, director, producer, that is your right. And you deserve that. Like, we can now all be filmmakers. Like, that's fucking cool. Everybody on here that's going to comment below, I want to know what you consider yourself in the industry. If you are a filmmaker, director, cinematographer, how you got to that position, how you think you're going to progress. The current state of the industry right now is beautiful. It's all about meritocracy, and I hope it continues that way. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to subscribe. I really appreciate it. And my name is Jordan Anderson, filmmaker. I'll see you soon.